5, 4, 3, 2, 1, live. Volgens mij zijn we live.
Jee, zeg dan wat.
Oh, zeg dan wat. Alle instellingen controleren of die goed zijn natuurlijk. We zijn live. Ja. A lot about AI these days. SAP Sapphire was a lot about AI. SAP TechEd coming up in November will be about AI. It will be about large language models. A lot of stuff, buzz about AI. And in the past you always said, Jan, not only you, but software is eating the world. And I think nowadays AI is creating a new world.
That's a good one. I like that. But isn't AI software as well?
Then it's not eating the world anymore, but it's creating a new world.
It's taking over.
It's taking over.
But also
it's like
creating
Pinky.
a new job, actually, creating a new opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
what's
right.
really interesting.
So I'm really happy, Sudip. Welcome to the podcast. Global SAP Development Architect at Orbia. Recently switched companies, and you have worked at customers like Waven, Cura, Alpha Gary, Vestolite, and Mexigerm Business Unit.
Yeah, they're actually part of Orbia. So Orbia is a holding company, and they are like a business unit.
Ah, okay. All right then. Some remarkable. You are in the SAP Hall of Fame in 2019. You have been TechEd speaker, regular TechEd speaker 2017, 2018, 2019, when we had the real TechEd.
That's true.
An in-person event. Hopefully,
right
it sometimes
real life
will be a nice event again. The Cloud Platform Business Challenge winner, which is also remarkable.
Sure.
Good. Yeah. 2014, you joined Capgemini. That's the start of your SAP career.
That's true.
Yeah. And I will not mention the year that I started at Capgemini in my SAP career. Okay.
Dinosaur.
Yes, exactly. 2017, you joined SAP.
Yep.
And but then you left SAP for Arini in 2020, and 2022 you joined Orbia.
That's true.
And you used to work with SAP.
Oh yeah.
Or did you mention that?
That's what I just mentioned. Pay attention, please, Jan. Welcome, Jan. Maybe I should first say that. Welcome, Jan, and then you pay attention. Now, and did you know, Jan, that Sudip also hosts a podcast?
No, not at all.
No, and you know the name of the podcast?
The Sudip Show.
No.
It's
Keep the core clean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a nice one. We need to check that podcast as well. But
Totally.
I think you are a community hero, Sudip. So let's applaud for that. So if you look at all those achievements, but also as a regular speaker at CityNL, which will also take place later this year in November after TechEd. But since we're doing a show about ChatGPT and the blog that you wrote, that was the reason that I called you or contacted you. I also thought maybe we can do a different opening.
Yeah, I think you had the opening wrten by ChatGPT, didn't you?
Yeah, that's
oh no.
Yeah, let's see how that works. Let's see how
the machine is taking over.
Yeah, no, not taking over, but let's see. So ChatGPT says to have an opening or a podcast as follows. Welcome to the Tech Talk SAP Development and Integration. I'm your host, or we are your host, Jan Penninkhof and Twan van der Broek. Today we have a very special guest. And it's Sudip Ghosh, who achieved the remarkable feature of integrating SAP with ChatGPT. And join us when we explore the game-changing possibilities this fusion brings to business worldwide.
Game-changing.
Yeah. SAP development and integration play a pivotal role in streamlining operations and driving data-driven decisions.
Pivotal.
But as a business evolves, the need for AI-driven automation and insights has skyrocketed. Sudip Ghosh has bridged this gap by integrating SAP with AI, revolutionizing the way organizations operate.
Bingo!
You mean this one? Where it is? The bingo. In this episode, we do a deep dive into Sudip's journey, exploring the challenges, breakthroughs, and the immense value of SAP integration with AI. Discover how this fusion is transforming industries and learn about its potential applications. And whether you are an SAP developer, an integration enthusiast, or curious about the future of intelligent enterprise systems, this episode is for you.
Oh.
Get ready to be inspired by the possibilities of the intersection of SAP and AI. And without further ado, let's welcome Sudip Ghosh to this Tech Talk to HANA Café, the Netherlands.
HANA Café Nederland is een podcast met nieuws vanuit de SAP-wereld. In het café spreken de gasten en stamgasten over ontwikkelingen, innovaties, events of praten ze gewoon weer eventjes bij. Laten we snel naar binnen gaan.
Zo.
Nou, dat was een fijne intro. Hij duurt vooral heel lang.
En we praten Engels vandaag, hè?
This is English, ja.
Ja, precies. Sorry for this very long intro. I actually asked
I have one interesting
ChatGPT.
questions now. Like, how much time it took to generate such kind of content?
No, it was really short.
Oh.
It first generated 2 pages of of text, and I said, "Can you do it a little bit more shorter?" and it did, but it was still long. I think it's really nice text that it comes up.
You know what's fun? Once you've generated these kind of text, to write to ChatGPT to turn it into urban language.
Yeah. But this is all very nice, blah blah.
Yo.
And a lot of bingo. Oh, let's go on. A lot of bingo words. But just before we open, if you have any questions for Sudip about for Sudip's journey, but also about ChatGPT and SAP, please write them down in the chat. Then I will refer to them in the show.
Anything that you've always wanted to know about AI.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ask that to ChatGPT. Right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but welcome Sudip.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome,
you for
Jan.
having me.
And so let's step into your journey.
Mhm.
Why did you want to integrate SAP with ChatGPT?
Well, I guess a couple of months back, like when I was looking at the LinkedIn, so I see like a lot of contents are coming. Like it was flooded. My whole wall was flooded. Like people are generating content. They're really making context out of the data, like a large text. So I was interested at how intelligent ChatGPT is. I mean, how we can really use ChatGPT in SAP world, because I comes from SAP world, and integration is one of my favorite topic. And I see that, okay, there could be a potentials to empower citizen developer to develop such kind of integrations. I mean, don't get me wrong, right now there are a lot of frameworks out there to do a lot of automations, but I guess the citizen developer is one of the group, like they also want to be empowered. And that's the starting point for me to investigate and do some explorations, like how I can bring SAP and ChatGPT together, but like making it something meaningful out of it.
Yeah. Okay, and that's what you did.
Exactly. And
Can
it
you
actually blew away the internet.
What did you build?
I actually built a conversational system. Let's say I'm not saying a conversational chatbot, but it's like a conversational system. And here the channel for user is an email. So you send an email, and you want to, let's say, extract the data. Okay. Now, these particular whole solutions, if you look at, I don't know, you got a chance to look at my blog or not, but it is first like actually extracting the email, and then it is asking ChatGPT, okay, what kind of query it is. And if it is like, let's say, sales order query or purchase order query, then can you translate it into something like a JSON or more like kind of a API input. And then when ChatGPT understand that, okay, this is a sales order or purchase order, and it's basically extracting the information, what's the order number, what kind of information they're looking. And then I am actually forming a payload that is also asking ChatGPT, this is a sales order API, can you generate the payload for it? And then I'm making an action. Basically, action is nothing but querying the data from SAP using a standard API and getting the response again, and then again asking ChatGPT, okay, this is what I got in a JSON. Can you translate it into a meaningful text so that I can send an email? So that's what the interesting part is. Like, it understands everything. It's because it's been trained with a lot of billion of parameters. Yeah. That's the interesting fact about large language models. And then actually I send another actions. I create another actions to send an email, the reply. Mm-hmm. So this is the whole story about this blog. But I guess before my blog, people definitely, I mean, there are a lot of people might have seen this is one of the possibility, but people didn't write about it. And that's one of the reason I believe that my blog got a lot of tractions, kind of on 98K views. Today I checked. It's just been 3 months, 98K views. So that's amazing. I mean, really something.
We will link
in the show
share
notes.
the link to your blog in the show notes. Yeah.
So what does that mean to do? Suppose I go into my email application. I will send an email off to your company.
Yep.
And then I explained that I have received the goods, but I already paid for order number 10.
Mm-hmm.
It will pick it up. Number 10.
That's
We'll
true.
We'll check whether, for instance, there's an outstanding item
That's true.
in S4.
That's true.
Indicate that there's an outstanding item.
Yep.
And then ChatGPT will turn it into text again, like, dear customer, we are so happy to have you, but you really didn't pay this invoice yet. Is that what?
Yeah, possible. Definitely is possible.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, that's what is happening. It is making a context out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like really world is moving right now. I see.
And what are the building blocks that you use to create this integration?
I guess I could have used process automation, build process automation. That's also could replace this Azure Logic. So here in this case, I use Azure Logic because Azure Logic have really nice integrations with Microsoft products like 365, Outlook, and all. It's very easy to get the text out of email. And in the Azure Logic app, like I have 2 actions. So trigger is always when, let's say, a user send an email. So this particular whole logic app get triggered, and then it extract the informations, asking ChatGPT. It's like a prompt engineering. It's like a lot of prompt engineering, chain of prompt engineering is happening in the whole building block. And then these basically query, like make a REST call basically. So I have a S4 HANA system. Let's say we have a standard sales order API. Okay, just activate it in the gateway, and then like you create a kind of a wrapper, not wrapper, I would say like expose it in internet via API management. So that's also part of integration suite. Mm-hmm. And then I'm calling that API from Azure Logic app to get the response back, and then translating that response into a meaningful response, a meaningful text, and sending again back to the customer or the person who actually requested.
Yeah, but so the Azure Logic app is the director of this process.
Exactly, it's a kind of you can say orchestrator or like more like an agent actually.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, if you ask me now how I could design the same thing, but I could have now done a different way. But it's like there are a lot of framework recently got released. One is like LangChain. I don't know if you heard about it or not. Exactly same thing it does basically. The agent job. And it actually it also has a connector with SQL and a different kind of database. So basically from S4, you can replicate the data using SLT and BODS, bringing it in the MySQL or some database, which is like going to be supported by this LangChain. And the LangChain do everything. You don't need to do like there are a lot of prompt engineering, small prompt engineering I have done in the logic that could completely replace by a LangChain. So that's something like interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, what's LangChain doing?
So LangChain is a framework to build applications for large language models. So the whole idea of ChatGPT is like, I mean, when it got released, a lot of I guess people are interested to see how it could be used with enterprise data, right? That is something everyone is interested on, to be honest. People are not interested to see like how I generate content, but also like how I'll get a meaningful context out of my data, right? And that's where like one of the thing people are thinking like, okay, can we fine tune this model? But fine tuning the model costs a hell lot of money. So you can imagine like an organizational data are changing, right? It's like you get a pile of data. I mean, how many times are you going to fine tune? And also if you fine tune, then the problem will be, you will be ending up with, you might lose the standard fine tuned model by Azure OpenAI or this kind of company. So, but there is a way. The way is use the reasoning power of ChatGPT or this kind of large language model. Don't infuse or inject the data, but like ask them like, okay, this is what I'm getting. For example, like I have a MySQL database, okay, and I have, let's say, 5 tables, like order, header, order, item, and all this. And let's say you ask, okay, I need to get some informations, and if you give this request to developer, he might look at different tables and join it and create a view and expose it as API. If you ask this same thing to LangChain, the LangChain, what it does is, it basically first goes to ChatGPT or this kind of large language model. This is what I got a request. And then the large language model, like a ChatGPT will say, okay, you check in the database, what are the, how many tables are there, and can you just give me the context in terms of metadata of the tables? then this LangChain has agent, which is a more like a connections with like SQL connection. So it will extract the metadata and give it to ChatGPT or this kind of large language model. And large language model will make decisions like, okay, I see there's an order header, order item. So what you can do is you can form a SQL query, and again you hit the data, okay, and get the output, and then again the agent will say like, this is what user requested, and this is what I got, and then large language model will like format the response and then give the final output. It's like a kind of chain of prompt engineering happening under the hood, to be honest.
Yeah, so you basically use it as an extension of ChatGPT.
Exactly, it's a plugin.
To make it context aware, to make it aware of
data
the data
aware,
that you have in your organization.
That's true.
Because that's not what you used in your demo, right? In your blog.
No, this is like in my demo. It was it was definitely the same, but it is more like a humanized. I mean, like you see the multiple building block I had created, multiple prompt I actually created. But if you use LangChain, then
it will simplify.
It will simplify. It's like an abstract layer, basically.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, you have to, because ChatGPT doesn't know about your context.
Yeah, so
it doesn't know what's in your database.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah, that's really good. So, but using ChatGPT is about asking the right or giving the right prompt, right?
That's
the
true.
Prompt engineering is the new data engineering, the new data scientist. Prompt engineering is a very important job.
That's true.
In the
But
future.
that's the world we are living in right now. The prompt engineering is. I see like this is an interesting fact, by the way. There are a lot of companies right now. They are selling prompt. They are selling prompt. Actually. They're selling prompt.
Yeah, but
I mean, what to ask to get the right answer.
Yeah. Yeah, and so in your examples, the blog that you wrote, then did you this prompt that you gave, that you feed to ChatGPT, is that in the process by this Azure application?
That's true, as a logic app.
So the logic app, is it then customized into the right question to ask?
True.
Yeah?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So you can imagine like, okay, that's only I have done with one use case, like a sales order. Might be like there could be multiple requests, like a sales order, purchase order, and all these things. So then my prompt would be like, okay, based on this request, does it fall in purchase order category or sales order category? And then I have kind of like a decision logic, decision tables where I would just say like, okay, which action to be called? I mean, is it like a purchase order API to be called, sales order API to be called? So that.
So in your flow, then you will first have this question: is it sales order or is it purchase order? And ChatGPT then decides for you it's purchasing, and then Azure Logic App. Azure Logic App. I have to remember that one. But then Azure Logic App decides in the decision tree, okay, it has been purchased, so now we have to call this API.
That's true.
Because that's I think it looks now very smart. If you look at your application, if you receive an email and then it sends you automated a reply on your email with the actual ERP data. But it's about using the sales API.
That's
if you
true.
have purchase question, then
you will be using a purchase order API.
Yeah, exactly. But you cannot use the sales API for the purchase order.
That's true.
So that you have also then to your model has to be the question that you can ask is depending on how smart your model is.
That's true. That's true. I mean, how smartly you are using a prompt engineering, and I guess that's one of the reason I see that there's a big use case of the LangChain. I mean, the LangChain is I don't know, like SAP is using it for generating the CapGPT or not, but I mean, it seems like pretty much like under the hood might be using it.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a blog from a LinkedIn post from Jürgen last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure about the trial.
The CapGPT.
The CapGPT, yeah, which will probably be shown at TechEd.
For our listeners, CAP is the Cloud Application Programming Model.
Yeah.
A model that we use on the business technology platform to build applications. And what CapGPT is supposed to do is take prompts from its end user and then basically build your application. Yeah. It feels that, or senses, or somewhere pulls out of the cosmos that you will need a bunch of tables. And then it starts creating those tables with the right attributes and stuff and the right cardinality. And then eventually even put business logic on top to make it all work through API so that you can build your Fiori applications on top of it. I thought it was really awesome when I saw the demo, by the way. It's available on
yeah, we will share the link in the show notes.
In the show notes.
Yeah, but it's really interesting because, as I just said, prompting is everything. And the prompt now for this model is the business user is explaining to the developer, this is the sort of application that I want to have. That exact business case is entered as a prompt. Then it generates the entity model, and then it generates data model, and generates the application.
I wonder what it will do if I do something like, okay, CapGPT, build me an application that is exactly the same as the ERP application by SAP.
Then you get your own S/4HANA.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Maybe we can have access to this application and see.
So something about prompt engineering, right?
Prompt engineering. It's asking the right question.
Right questions. Yeah, that's true.
But that's even one step further than what you did, because it's just business case language, and then it generates an application.
And it doesn't only generate it, you can even maintain it. So doing the demos that I saw on the internet, it's like he built me an application and then, but I like the functionality to be a bit like that or like this or like that. So we could even do something like, okay, CapGPT, build me an enterprise resource planning system that is similar to S/4HANA, and then extend it. The next prompt would be,
then it says,
build me the next level that SAP is going to release next year.
Its reply will be, do I need to keep the core clean? There is a question coming in from Vivek. Would there also be a RAP GPT for RESTful application model? We don't know.
Sudip, what's your answer?
Well, I guess possible, definitely possible, because under the hood, if you see, like,
it doesn't work for SAP anymore.
It doesn't work. I don't work, but I believe it's possible, and they're definitely, I guess, after CapGPT, SAP might consider this to build something RAP GPT, because Cap and RAP both are one of the framework to keep your core clean, right? This is
you're usually mentioned in one sentence if you are going for development frameworks, Cap and RAP.
Exactly. So I believe that definitely SAP would do something.
It's kind of there already. I mean, given the fact that if you use Cap, you're basically building CDS views.
Exactly.
You might as well just reuse them in RAP.
It's true. Completely.
Okay.
So, yep.
We think so.
Maybe.
But let's looking in the bowl and see if hopefully it comes there sometime. Maybe a ticket.
I was hoping that you would touch the subject of CapGPT already, because in the past bunch of HANA cafes we've been talking about low code and developer productivity and stuff. So if this is going to really going to fly, where does it leave us developers?
I believe, I hate to say this, but if you look at the 2 years from now, I see that people who really know end-to-end, they would be empowered. But people who are into very narrow, more like now, I feel like more the generalist people would be, I don't know, they would be empowered, I believe, because they can use this kind of building block to, for example, like you got a solution to develop, right? You have 5 developers out there. Now, you might not need 5 developers, you might need 2, because you can then use this kind of generative model, to be honest, to build this all building block, and then you have 2 developers to validate all those and just integrate them. I mean, that's where I see that the world is moving. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is the real truth.
Yeah, So it looks like magic. But again, if you do not have the APIs for your backend system to get their actual data, then so there are still developers building those APIs.
That's true, but right now there are some frameworks available. You don't need actually API, to be honest. I mean, that's what I was telling. Like, for example, if you have an S4 system, okay, now what they can do is using SLT and BODS, for example, like they can move the data out of SAP, put it in a MySQL or other database, and then connect this LangChain kind of framework to your database, and then ask questions, because you don't need database. Then it will be more like kind of querying the MySQL rather than querying the data from SAP S/4HANA via API.
So what if almost scary?
What if you have LangChain available on HANA?
Yeah, it is actually. It's a kind of a Node.js framework, or like it's a library actually. It's not something as software. It's open source stuff, to be honest, available in Python, available in Node.js. So even also a couple of days back, I saw one SAP employee has written a blog how the LangChain could be integrated with Cap, because Cap has a Node.js. So you can just import the library and you can use it. So
Yeah.
this is already one of the blog has been published by SAP employee. In the SAP
Node.js
community.
is first-class citizen on the BTP, and we have HANA there, so we can put data there. We can even virtualize data that you have in your S4 system, maybe on-premise or in your VPC or whatever, in that HANA cloud environment on the BTP.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's very nearby.
Exactly, because because you have a lot of framework now to move the data from SAP ERP or ECC to HANA Cloud, like SDI. Then you have DataSphere is also coming in. Like you have a lot of options to bring the data out, and then you don't need to build all those APIs basically, like to get the data. It's like it directly use the SQL or this kind of query language to get the data out. I mean, it will do all the join in the runtime, on the fly, and get the data out and give you the response. So that is something like really, really fascinating, I see.
So with all the services that are available in S4HANA, then this system, again, it will have some magic to connect all those APIs together.
That's true.
That's scary.
Well, I would say it even promotes an API-less world. You remember that last time, maybe a few years back, we were talking about how APIs were eating the world, just like software was eating the world. Mark Andreessen.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the API economy and that sort of terminology. But
Still you need an API actually, because this is just one part of the software, like a conversational system, or you want to get a context out of your data. But there are other things, like there are other applications which you need to integrate to run your business. For example, you can't have like only ChatGPT to run your business. You need a web shop, you need a CRM. And if this CRM and web shop, this kind of satellite system, want to talk with your ERP system, then you need API, you need an integration system.
Yeah, but fast forward to maybe 50 years from now. Why would you need a web shop? I'll just talk to my phone and tell it, or some device,
Talk to your phone.
or maybe even if maybe my brain is even neural linked by that time.
Okay, but
Maybe I'll think.
50 years is quite far away, right? Look in this ball.
Okay, so my brain will in 50 years, my brain will be definitely be neural linked. Okay, so there will be a link for my brain to the internet, and I will just think of tomorrow. I'd like to eat bread for breakfast.
So we can all play Jan Penninkhof in 50 years now. We can all simulate Jan Penninkhof.
Oh,
Ouch.
Let's go back. Let's go
sounds
back.
so crazy actually.
Let's go back.
Seriously, if you maybe not 50 years from now, but
Okay.
maybe a few years from now.
Yeah.
Why would you need a web shop if you can just talk to something and then everything becomes
It's like a
everything's alright?
conversational web shop. Then it's still. I mean, the backbone. I believe that it should have those capabilities to feed the data, to display the data, and do all those transactional. So you'd still need a web shop, the backbone of the web shop, but it might be like the UI of the web shop would be gone. I mean, then it's more like we're going to use a conversational system because that's more convenient. That's I want to find this product, I want to buy this product, just buy it.
Yeah, well,
even maybe I can ask
I'm
like
thinking
this.
of the same type of innovations, like mobile phones, for instance. They are not they were not as pervasive as they were maybe in the 1980s and 1980s. Everyone said, "No, I'm not going to use that mobile phone because I want my peace and quiet time, and I don't want to be disturbed." And nowadays, everyone's walking around with it, and every minute this device is taken out of a pocket to just look up something. I think ChatGPT and chat-based user interfaces could be the next level, where we don't need to look up things anymore because the chat tool will take care of that. We'll just tell it, tomorrow I want to have biscuit for breakfast, and off you go. Tomorrow morning, maybe ChatGPT enabled delivery guy will be at my front door to deliver the bread or whatever.
Nice. Future visions, Jan. Thank you. But you just said also your question was, what will this mean? What does this mean for developers? But also, I think, what does this mean for tools like SAP Build? If we have this cap model for ChatGPT, then Build is not necessary and not required anymore.
Now, this is why I think when it comes down to these development tools, they should be evolving.
Yeah.
And nothing's been evolving as much as we have seen with things in IT. It's been going so fast.
That's true.
From where we were like 40 years ago until now. Things like
5 years ago.
internet and technology has become so pervasive everywhere. It's everywhere. Every company is basically an IT company nowadays. So yeah, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's empowering the citizen developers. Yesterday, I had a very interesting story to share. Like yesterday, I went to office. I booked the cab. The driver, I was having a conversations. Very interesting. He opened a showroom. He didn't have any IT developer knowledge. I mean, no IT. This guy opened a web shop, created integrations with a kind of a code generations using completely the ChatGPT. So that's the kind of empowerment these people are getting.
The cab driver?
Yeah, cab driver. Can you imagine?
But again, to get the right picture. So, what was the cab driver doing?
So he has a web shop.
Yeah.
So he has got some open source web shop. Now, like for example, he want to automate this code sending email to the customer. Mm-hmm. So he has to build integrations, right? And this integration would have cost a lot of money if he gone to some consulting company. Mm-hmm. Now he doesn't have any IT knowledge, but using ChatGPT, he completely built the integration. Not only the build the integration, but also generating the code, like a personalized code, and sending it via email.
Yeah.
So that is something like, like different kind of story. I mean, interesting, amazing story.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is why development tools also need to evolve. Then they should be able to, like what we do with Cap GPT, you should be able to talk to them, and then automatically your data model is being put in place and stuff. But eventually, the other side, the user side of those development tools should also change. Instead of us developing screens and stuff, we probably need to develop a prompt.
Yep.
Or an input box where you can enter your prompt into.
A command line interface.
Yeah,
then DJ will be happy.
Something like that. Something that you can speak to or something. Yeah. Maybe the whole craze about Alexa and Google and that sort of thing will come back again.
Yeah. I don't think so. They would be able to make any sense, or they would be a relevant topic anymore. The way the ChatGPT or this kind of large language model is evolving, because if you use Alexa, doesn't matter, like Alexa conversational AI. So you need to train a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, you need to train the bot. I mean, and you see, like without training, these kind of things are possible.
Yeah, but that's what they do at Google, right? So at Google, they're also behind those large language models, and they intend to, or maybe even they release their own already, and takes just a little bit of time to connect it to Google and to connect it to the Google Assistant, so that you can talk to your Google Mini or whatever, and then have the same functionality through speech as what you nowadays get through ChatGPT on the website.
True, agree.
Can we go back to nowadays, to the enterprise world, like S/4HANA? Yeah, well, it's
I love to dream.
Dream. But
okay, put back.
No. I will not hate you. No, but so you built your solution using one API, the sales order API. So what are, in your opinion, business use cases to build an integration using ChatGPT?
Yeah. So I can share some use case more on the technical side first. I see like any company who implement this S/4HANA or this kind of ERP, they have a challenge to collect the mapping sheet, like build the mapping sheet, because you need to integrate with a load of system, and most of the customer have the different kind of product. It's not just SAP products, because when you buy SAP products, you get a lot of prepackaged content from API Hub and all. But when you go for like different kind of solutions, like a best of kind of solution, then you get into a challenge with like integrating, and that's where customers spend a lot of time actually to get the informations. I see there's a huge potential for where their ChatGPT could be used to just get a sender and receiver payload and make a mapping. Yeah. And this is what I actually did a couple of days back. Yeah. I had a Magento and I had S/4HANA. Magento has API documentations publicly available. SAP also have a sales order API documentation available in API Hub. Just ask, generate the XSLT mapping. And that's like a kind of I believe it's very amazing things, because you spend at least like 3-4 days discussing with business, discussing with everyone, and then you make the mapping. But now this whole things gets very smooth, very fast, and you get a kind of you get to see like okay, what AI is recommending, and that actually going to influence your decisions, and that actually get an impact.
What kind of prompt will we feed into SAP GPT if we have implemented ChatGPT in our S/4HANA scenario? Is it where can I procure this material the cheapest or the smartest or whatever? Or is it something, how can I improve my business for the next quarter?
Yeah, but I believe like, SAP should come up with something like in their integration suite platform to have, kind of options where like a low-code developers, or let's say more like a citizen developers or more functional people, let's say they could get this done by themselves.
Yeah, but that's to make it usable, so to make sure it's available so that you can actually use it. But then again, what is, because we can already find a lot of information in S/4HANA, but you have to search for it. And I think with S/4HANA we did a good job, because instead of going to all the transactions that you need, we can have also this 360 view on a vendor, on a supplier or whatever, if you're in that specific transaction. But then one step back. So if we have ChatGPT integrated in SAP in all kind of APIs, so that you have all the data available, what kind of questions are we going to ask? Are that questions of prompts that help me doing my business, or is it more that you are going to improve your business? Is it where is it going?
There are two types of use cases. So one is the technical, like more like going to help you out in terms of implementing it faster. That's the one use case. And then other use cases more like, I guess, just a very simple one. Let's say when you have a web shop, so you have a CMS system where you write the product informations. So maybe this ChatGPT could help you to generate the product informations, like product descriptions, very quickly. The moment like you send the product from S4 or ERP system to CMS, like automatically it generate those descriptions. So that is something that could be one use case. Yeah. Then also I see like from SAP, like they already integrated with SuccessFactors, like in Sapphire. I guess they already have shown the demo where like writing job description is not a difficult task anymore. I mean, like there are a lot of research work, I guess, the recruiter used to perform. Now, like they get recommendations, like the kind of integrations, I guess, more like from SuccessFactors, the API call happens to ChatGPT kind of language, large language model, and get the response, and you get a kind of recommendation, and that's actually helped a lot, to be honest. Yeah. I guess that kind of business case, I guess they are going into, but I believe after 2-3 years, there will be use case more like insight to actions. Yeah. That kind of use case are coming up.
Yeah, that's. I think it's nice that you started with developer productivity and eventually went into the productivity of marketing folks. But boiling down to the question that Twan really asked, like how to improve performance of my company, and then maybe over a couple of Excels, like for instance, how do I improve sustainability of my company? How do I improve shareholder value of my company? That sort of thing. That's hopefully also,
that would be very interesting if you can ask those questions,
especially if they're customized to your company.
Yeah, especially exactly, because that's then now it's eating the developers, but then it's eating the consultants. All these consulting companies, if you have ChatGPT consulting you, that's very interesting.
Or the consulting companies will just use ChatGPT,
like the copywriters do right now. Yeah. But also, and that's also interesting, because if we, and then one side step, what a lot of students are using it what is this book about? What is this movie about? And then go back to school. Did you read the book? Yes. And then giving all the answers that ChatGPT gave them. But what I find really interesting is that a lot of schools adopting the ChatGPT tool. They just say to the student, use ChatGPT to write your description, to write your report.
Oh, that's like very...
Yeah, schools. Like
schools promote using ChatGPT too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Both my daughter and both my son get the tip, use ChatGPT. Of course, you have to fact check, because ChatGPT does not have the most accurate database.
No, there's errors.
There are errors, so they have to do the fact checking. But then they are stimulated to use this new environment. I think that's interesting, because in the old days, when we had only the library with all those books that has a summary of your books that you should have read, then the teachers did not say use the summary and then maybe read some additional chapters. But now the teachers say use the new tools that are available.
So there was a reason that schools were asking students to read books, right?
Right. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you could write your report on your specific study by yourself, doing the old-fashioned investigation in books or whatever in interviews. But now they say use ChatGPT.
So basically what they're saying is read the book, then ask ChatGPT to write an excerpt or a summary, and then fact check whether that summary is right. and correct ChatGPT when necessary.
That's the way, but yeah. So my son is studying physiotherapy. I'm not sure what that's in English.
Just pronounce it in a bit English.
Physiotherapy.
Yeah. There you go.
It sounds English. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well then it's a good word. And but then he asked ChatGPT to have give him some exercises to do with the patient when he is suffering from some kind of disease. So he's not doing the analysis of the patient, but giving them the exercises without finding that in a book or an app or whatever. So.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah, but that's. I think it's good to embrace new tools. Embrace new. Developers should grow and learn to embrace new tools like SAP Build, but also like maybe then GPT. Business people need to grow and evolve and see how they can use new tools.
Yeah,
consultants.
It's dangerous as well, right?
That's true. I mean, everything has pros and cons.
Given the fact that ChatGPT is not errorless, it has its errors. If you read about the story that ChatGPT would write about, for instance, the founding of SAP, it completely has our founders wrong.
Yeah.
So suppose
it says Jan Penninkhof.
I wish. But suppose you would do something with people in the area of medicine, in the area of physiotherapy,
I totally agree.
and you prescribe something to a patient based on ChatGPT that is completely ruining its spine, right? And the person is not able to walk forever anymore. Who's liable?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. But that's also why the teachers say use ChatGPT, but do fact checking. So if it's really right. Yeah. But also with coding, you can write a data. Exactly. You can write an application on your database, update your database, and then make S/4HANA not working anymore.
Do you know what's another very good application area?
No.
You know the what the abbreviation RFP stands for? Request for
proposal.
Proposal, exactly.
To use it within pre-sales.
You get customers that send you 200 questions, and then you have to give an answer to all of those 200 questions, and then use ChatGPT to generate the answers.
That's quite possible. I mean, recently Azure released new functionalities where you can actually, attach your knowledge base. So means like you have a huge knowledge base, like could be 300, 400 PDF, 300, 400 like a page PDF, and it has a lot of informations. So what you can do is when you deploy the model in Azure, you can add it as a kind of a knowledge base. Yep. And the prompt when it comes, it's actually search the answer from the knowledge base and give it to the user. Yep. I guess that is one use case I see like. I think
that's also what Watson is doing, right? So if we are going to combine SAP with Watson, then we are going to feed Watson with SAP knowledge instead of feeding it to the outside world, because that would be strange if you have an RFP and then ask the outside world.
Actually, you're not feeding it. The way it works is, so first, let's say you get a huge PDF file, okay? Now, definitely you can't really ingest the whole PDF as a prompt because it has a token limit. It has a token limit 4096.
No, that's not what I meant. But it's you train the model with the additional PDF documents.
No, you don't train, actually. No, you don't train. What you do is you chunk it, and then you create a word vector. Word vector or word embeddings. So these are basically multi-dimensional points, And those vector get stored in the vector database. Like it could be Chroma, it could be Redis, so they supports the vector database. And ChatGPT is very good to find like similarities between two word vectors. So it's like it applies the cosine similarities to find the minimal distance and to find the similarities. And that's how it gives you the result.
Okay.
Synonyms. In
kind
short.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
HANA Café Nederland.
So we are approaching.
Let that sink in, huh?
Yeah, I have to let it sink in, and maybe we have to schedule a second episode as well.
I liked what you said about Watson, by the way, because it's also been recently announced, talking about AI and ChatGPT and generative AI and stuff. We had an announcement, I think 1 or 2 weeks back, with regards to the closer collaboration between SAP and IBM, especially with regards to Watson. And then we were talking, of course, about the digital assistant that's going to replace conversational AI, that's going to replace Copilot, etc. And for what I heard and for what I read from the news articles, is also the reason that I didn't go for ChatGPT is the fact that, we have these errors and we want to get rid of them. So we want to change the model and we want to apply our own data, data from SAP. And that's for the kind of limitations that ChatGPT had. And this is the reason why this announcement with IBM was being sent into the world, because ChatGPT is working for very generic type of use cases. But if you want to connect it to your own enterprise data, if you want to be able to influence the model to make sure that errors that you've seen so far are being corrected, then it's not so useful.
And also to not have all your data in somewhere in the public cloud available, in the open cloud available.
ChatGPT
allows you to have it on Azure, if I'm not wrong. But maybe you know that better.
I guess that's one of the reason, like tuning the model, the ChatGPT model is not something people would recommend, because you can imagine like your organizational data get like piled up. I mean, it get increased day by day, right? Yeah. How much you will train, and every time you train, you're gonna like spend a lot of money. And that's something no one would like to have, and that's the reason use ChatGPT as a reasoning power. I mean, like kind of what kind of things have to be done. I mean, that's a ChatGPT could give you, and then you query from the database, and you get the answer. So that's where the LangChain comes into the picture.
That's what I liked about what you said in your solution as well, that you basically use ChatGPT as an interpreter.
Exactly.
And then translate my human language into API language or SQL language.
Exactly. That's what, yeah.
And then you get the whole model and train the knowledge part out of the equation.
That's true.
Okay. So can we book you, Sudip, for SAP Inside Track in the Netherlands?
Oh, yeah, sure.
In a session on ChatGPT, CapGPT, or any GPT.
Oh, yeah. We can bring SIT and LGBT.
Kijk. That will be interesting.
That's right. So and we can train the. I mean, we can train the model. Let's say not train, but we can create a kind of applications. What are the sessions we had in past SITNL? Yeah. And someone can just get query ChatGPT and get the whole insight.
Do you think ChatGPT knows about SITNL?
No, because it has in the databases. Not. We are already there for more than 10 years. So yeah, it should know us. It should know us. We
should check if it knows the organizers of SITNL.
Yeah.
See if Twan pops up.
Maybe then Hasso Plattner comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so when are the dates?
Of the Inside Track.
Inside Track, yeah.
Yeah, that's after Tech in November.
Yeah. I think it's. I think it's 10 and 11, right?
10 and
11. We need to send out reserve the date somewhere next week or something. But 10 and 11 of November we will have SAP Inside Track in the Netherlands in 's-Hertogenbosch, and hopefully we will have Sudip on the agenda.
Yeah, talking about things like that kind of messaging, right? So there's a little bit of a change going on in our community systems as well, isn't there? Where we're trying to move off Meetup and moving into the SAP community groups.
Yeah.
So hopefully that message to reserved of block the date. How do you call that?
Save the date.
Save the date. Yeah. Hopefully we can send it out from our new platform. What do you think?
I hope so. That's what I was hoping for, but it takes some time to go to all the management levels, I guess. But it will get there. We will use the SAP community for
just replace
SAP
managers
events.
with ChatGPT as well.
That will be interesting.
While we're at it.
Yeah. Maybe this is the time that you can ask your one difficult question, Jan.
I've asked so many difficult questions already.
Yeah. then I just say thank you, Sudip,
Yep.
for joining us today. It's a long episode, but it's an interesting episode, and
That's true.
if we have this nice crystal ball and see what we are going to, then maybe we can have an update already in November to see after TechEd what ChatGPT will bring to the SAP world, to the enterprise world, to have a smarter ERP conversation using those kind of tools.
That's true. I'm looking forward for that.
Thank you very much,
Yep,
Sudip.
thank you. for
Awesome.
having me.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, Jan.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for watching this live episode, and thank you of course also for listening to HANA Café the Netherlands.
Dankjewel voor het luisteren naar deze aflevering van HANA Café Nederland. Heb je feedback voor ons? Laat het dan zeker weten. Wil je ook een keer aanschuiven in het café? Stuur ons een berichtje en geef gelijk aan waar je het over wilt hebben. Tot de volgende keer!
Tot de volgende.
Misschien moeten we ChatGPT vragen om volgende keer aan te schuiven.
Live.
Ja.
Goed idee.